What is self-evidently true is that meaning exists here because it means something to us. We aren't alone in the universe. This is the strongest radio signal we have ever experienced. Additionally, it has a narrow bandwidth covering a limited range of frequencies, akin to those of artificial signals. This extremely strange radio signal has been explained by a variety of theories, including aliens, covert spy satellites, and sporadic natural occurrences. Some identified a passing comet that no one was aware of as the source of the enigmatic radio signal from space. However, comets are unable to produce radio waves like this enigmatic signal in the proper manner. This could be a three-body problem for us. Is this an invasion warning or just an alien attempt to communicate with us? What are the chances that extraterrestrial life exists? Join us as we explore how NASA has caught a mysterious signal from space that repeats every 22 minutes. Ever since humans acknowledged the enormity of the universe, we have intuited that life must exist somewhere, either in our galaxy or some galaxy far, far away. If there are billions of galaxies in the universe and billions of stars in each galaxy, and a small percentage of those stars have planets similar to Earth, then there must be hundreds, if not thousands, of extraterrestrial civilizations out there. Do you agree? Science relied only on reasoning for some time. The first planets discovered by astronomers outside of our solar system were then identified in 1995. Almost 300 of these planets outside of our solar system have been discovered since then. Planets smaller than Earth are starting to emerge, albeit the majority are huge, hot ones like Jupiter. But the Fermi paradox, which scientists refer to as a dampener, must be considered. This paradox, first articulated by nuclear physicist Enrico Fermi in 1950, asks the following questions. If extraterrestrials are so common, why haven't they visited? Why haven't they communicated with us? Or, finally, why haven't they left behind some residue of their existence, such as heat or light or some other electromagnetic signal? The frequency of alien life may be lower than previously thought. Maybe advanced civilizations that originate from extraterrestrial life aren't very prevalent. Astronomers should be able to put a number on those probabilities if only there was a formula that could take into consideration all the relevant factors of alien life. Surprisingly, that's correct. Radio astronomer Frank Drake proposed a formula that calculates the number of possible intelligent civilizations in our galaxy in 1961. This helped to organize the first serious conference on SETI. The formula is now called the Drake equation. The formula has caused a lot of stir, mostly due to the fact that it produces such wildly different outcomes. Still, it's the most reliable method we have for estimating the number of aliens attempting to contact us. It is actually pretty difficult to attempt to determine the likelihood that life exists beyond Earth. There is motion everywhere in the cosmos. Celestial bodies are born, mature, and eventually expire. It is possible for planets to aid in the formation of stars. Not everyone does. The ideal circumstances for life to exist are only present on a small number of those planets. Every aspect of life presents its own unique challenges. Proteins and nucleic acids are examples of sophisticated organic molecules that may be the only life form supported by some planets. Simple single-celled creatures may be able to survive on other worlds. Others may be able to sustain complex life forms, including ones with the technology to communicate with other planets or even beyond. Lastly, not even the most adaptable creatures can withstand the test of time. All dynasties, whether they terminate in a catastrophic collapse or not, have an end, as the Roman Empire and the dinosaurs show us here on Earth. After doing the math, Drake came up with the possibility that the Milky Way is home to 10,000 different civilizations. Carl Sagan, a leader in the SETI movement until he passed away in 1996, was even more generous when he suggested that 1 million civilizations might exist in the galaxy. That's a lot of extraterrestrials. The optimism of astronomers in the 1960s when they began their relentless quest for alien life was understandable. Researchers from SETI embarked on a quest to discover extraterrestrial intelligence after estimating the number of communicative civilizations in our galaxy. Two primary choices were available to them: communicating in person or over long distances. For the first one to work, either aliens or humans would have to go to the other side of the universe. Given the vast distances between our solar system and other Milky Way stars, this appeared extremely implausible. Radio transmissions, which include the transmission and reception of electromagnetic signals via space, were part of the second scenario. A 210 by message was purposefully delivered from Puerto Rico's Arecibo Observatory to the globular star cluster M13 in 1974 by astronomers who hoped to signal a civilization there. Data like the molecular formula of DNA and the atomic numbers of important elements were included in the message, which included basic information about ourselves and our place in the cosmos. However, there hasn't been much of this kind of proactive dialogue. The majority of astronomers' communication strategy is based on passive listening for broadcasts sent by extraterrestrial civilizations. For these kinds of listening tests, a radio telescope is ideal, since it can pick up energy waves that are too long for optical telescopes to see. Radio astronomy involves directing a massive antenna toward a nearby star that resembles the Sun and adjusting its frequency to focus on the microwave part of the electromagnetic spectrum. Due to its lower noise floor, the microwave frequency band, which spans 1,000 to 3,000 meters, is perfect for this application. Additionally, it has an emission line at 1,420 megahertz, which scientists have identified as a hiss that echoes throughout the galaxy. Neutral hydrogen undergoes energy changes along this narrow line. H-alpha is a perfect identifier because all cosmic civilizations should be aware of it as a primal element of the universe. Since 1960, a number of international teams have been methodically surveying the Milky Way and other galaxies for stellar signals. Some interesting and mysterious signals, including the WOW signal, have been caught by our telescopes. In 1973, the Ohio State University Radio Observatory, known as Big Ear, began scanning the sky for the slightest traces of extraterrestrial transmissions. Blips in the deafening silence of space. And on an August night in 1977, the first astonishing signal they received wasn't a whimper but a roar. The data generated by the telescope was not new to Jerry Emin, a professor from Ohio State who volunteered that summer with the Big Ear SETI program. An office supply of computer printouts produced by the telescope's mainframe computer would be delivered to Emin by a bike messenger every 2 or 3 days. The arduous task assigned to Emin was to sift through the monotonous data in search of outliers, anything that could be distinguished from the ubiquitous low-volume background noise. While reviewing data from 3 days prior, on August 18, 1977, Emin discovered something quite unexpected. Rather than the typical sequence of 1s, 2s, and 4s, a steady flow of letters and numbers appeared, indicating a radio transmission that was 30 times louder than the ambient noise in space. Emin, being the teacher that he was, took out a red marker and eagerly scrolled the word "Wow" next to the cryptic sequence 6 or 5. Still, after all this time, the so-called WOW signal is the closest encounter that humans have ever had with an alien intelligence. Although the intense radio wave burst only lasted 72 seconds, many amateur ufology and astronomers attribute its unusual properties to a spacecraft. For what reason does it appear to many astronomers as a communication from another planet? To begin, the hydrogen line is involved. A WOW signal of 1,420.4556 MHz was recorded, which is nearly identical to the electromagnetic wavelength of hydrogen. The scientists at SETI came to the conclusion that if an alien signal were to choose one frequency to transmit a message over great distances, it would be that one. A second defining feature of the WOW signal is its shape. Radio signal shapes depict the appearance of the signal when plotted against time. When the WOW signal was first detected by Big Ear, it registered as a 6 on the telescope's loudness scale. A few seconds later, it jumped to an E. The computer could only report single digits, so when a number exceeded 9, it switched to letters. The signal peaked at U, the equivalent of the number 30. Then, it slowly decreased back to 5. Plotting the signal on a graph, you get a nearly symmetrical pyramid shape. Why does the signal shape matter? Because it matches the shape you would expect from a deep space source. Sharpness is another interesting aspect of the WOW signal. Stars and galaxies, the most common natural radio wave sources, typically generate radio waves throughout a wide frequency spectrum. On the other hand, the WOW signal was so narrow that it had to have been created by an artificial transmitter, either by humans or extraterrestrials. Finding the exact position of the signal completes the picture. A region of the sky close to the constellation Sagittarius, which points toward the galactic center, was being monitored by the Big Ear telescope. Broadcasting your message toward the galaxy's densest cluster of stars would be an obvious choice for an extraterrestrial civilization attempting to contact another sentient species. Since no one has managed to reproduce the WOW signal, the most compelling argument against its extraterrestrial origins is that it is impossible to explain. There are many possible earthly explanations for the WOW signal. It could have been a reflection of a terrestrial radio signal bouncing off a piece of space debris. Or it could have been a transmission from a secret military satellite. Or maybe it was just a glitch in the Big Ear's computer system. Another argument against the WOW signal's extraterrestrial origins is its short duration. If an alien civilization were trying to get our attention, why would they send a message that lasted only 72 seconds and was never repeated? Also up for debate is how powerful the WOW signal is. For such a powerful message to travel such a vast distance and reach Earth, it must have originated from an extraterrestrial culture. According to some experts, not even a Type 2 civilization, the most advanced technologically, would be able to harness enough power to meet the demands. This is according to the Kardashev scale. As far as the hunt for alien intelligence is concerned, the WOW signal is among the most baffling mysteries. Thus, we return to the Fermi paradox. If the Milky Way galaxy is home to hundreds of civilizations, then why haven't we found any of them? Astronomers have grown increasingly cautious since Drake and Sagan's calculations using the Drake equation. Paul Horowitz, who fearlessly asserted the presence of alien life, has produced more moderate results suggesting that N might be closer to 1,000 civilizations. That number, though, could be excessively high when assessing L, the detectability of a civilization. Michael Shermer, publisher of Skeptic magazine, stated in 2002 that astronomers weren't being rigorous enough. Shermer calculated a number for L, the length of time a civilization remains detectable, ranging from 304.5 to 420.69. The odds of receiving a message from an alien civilization are much smaller. After over 40 years of listening to the cosmic airwaves, not a single result has been obtained, which troubles even the most ardent SETI believers. Still, the vast majority of these searches have only included our own galaxy. There are countless galaxies, even if each one only has 3 or 4 intelligent life forms. And now, a cosmic object that has been pulsing radio waves toward Earth every 22 minutes for more than 30 years has left scientists baffled. The object is thought to be a dying star that is emitting energy from its poles, but it's spinning too slowly to exist. This object stands out due to its exceptionally slow speed and exceptionally consistent behavior. It has been officially named GPM-J 183910. Hurley Walker said that while astronomers do anticipate seeing recurring radio signals in space, they often go on and off at significantly faster intervals. Stars can eventually cool down to the point where they become neutron stars, which are very dense celestial bodies that, according to NASA, can fit billions of tons of stuff into extremely small places. From their magnetic poles, some neutron stars emit dazzling rays of light and energy, like the light from a lighthouse flashing to a boat offshore. We only receive the signal when the beam sweeps across our planet. The initial scientists to notice these blips on Earth mistakenly believed they were messages from extraterrestrial beings because of how consistently they occurred. They didn't realize it at the time, but now they know they are the cosmic breaths of a dying star. Researchers anticipate that pulsing neutron stars will gradually decrease in speed until they encounter a theoretical limit called a death line. Beyond this limit, the stars will eventually collapse due to their insufficient mass. It is commonly believed that this threshold is crossed when the pulses become slower and more spaced out than a few minutes. Additionally, the team discovered that the pulses emanating from GPM-J 183910 occurred every 22 minutes, and these could last up to 5 minutes each, defying all expectations. This wasn't the first time a super slow object like this one had been spotted. Another slow object, lasting up to a minute each pulse, has been seen before by the same team, pulsed every 18 minutes or so. A magnetar, a neutron star with extremely strong magnetic fields, was hypothesized as the source of the beams by the scientists. However, GPMJ 183910 possessed an additional surprise that defied science. Hurley Walker stated that the crew discovered the real surprise of GPMJ 183910 when perusing archives. This object's pulses had been picked up unnoticed by observatories around the world for years, beaming like clockwork every 1,318.57 seconds, give or take a tenth of a millisecond. This goes against what we know about neutron stars. These are expected to die out in months. For instance, the 2018 object only blazed for a short while between January and March 2018. However, the first record of GPMJ 183910 pulses dates back to 1988, about 33 years ago. If this is the case, the object may represent an entirely novel class of star system. Some of the most strange and extreme things in the cosmos, such as neutron stars and magnetars, provide a challenge to our knowledge. This extraordinary item is quite remarkable. Regardless of the mechanism at work, at the same time, a prominent figure in the SETI movement has said that humans need to be ready to cope with aliens and their AI. Our ability to develop fundamental artificial intelligence and cloud computing technologies, as well as our penchant for sending robots to explore uncharted territories, formed the basis of Seth Shostak's argument, a senior astronomer at the SETI Institute. Why would an extraterrestrial civilization be unable to replicate our success? It becomes complicated when it comes to communicating. Just trying to convey our ideas to extraterrestrials is a formidable challenge. What hope does an extraterrestrial machine have? After all, to an alien intelligence, whether organic or synthetic, our signals would appear to be founded on unchangeable mathematical laws. But to the rest of us, they would appear completely arbitrary. Computing has evolved to accommodate specific random communication protocols. For example, the fact that data is divided into bits and bytes, that a byte has 8 bits, and that a kilobyte contains 1024 bytes are all outcomes of this evolution. While it's easy to envision sending greetings and instructions to extraterrestrial probes via beaming pulses, how can we be sure that these machines would grasp our Earth-centric standards? We shouldn't be concerned about that, according to Shostak. It is possible for an extraterrestrial machine to mimic human language comprehension. They may analyze it for unique patterns, find recurring elements, and deduce that it's a signal from an intelligent source. Indeed, he contends that rather than signals demonstrating that we comprehend mathematical laws, attempting to transmit massive amounts of data is a more efficient means for extraterrestrials to comprehend our language. Alien machines, when presented with massive volumes of data, could memorize a long list of nouns and link them to specific pictures. Aside from the obvious limitations of our laser range and radio signal, there is a finite number of potential targets. But suppose extraterrestrial spacecraft do, in fact, come into contact with our probes. Due to radiation and wear and tear, our probe's electronics will certainly fail in a few hundred years, making it highly improbable that the two devices can interact effectively. Furthermore, the probability of an extraterrestrial spacecraft rapidly locating them is low. Shostak argues that this does not rule out the possibility that extraterrestrials could gain valuable insight from the find. Beginning with an examination of the probe's technological capabilities, even though extraterrestrials are highly unlikely to see the Voyager or Pioneer spacecraft, according to Shostak, they would be more interested in the technology we installed on board than in the plaques that currently decorate them. That is to say, extraterrestrials will be able to comprehend our communication protocols if we are consistent with them and provide them with enough data. The amount of effort and time that alien machines and their operators put into their procedure will probably depend on their priorities and the programming constraints of their machines. But it's conceivable that they will acknowledge that they have established initial contact with an extraterrestrial.